didn't just break the clock. If everyone could have take their seats, please. And then if we could get someone to close the door. Thank you, Mr. Jonak. Okay, we are resuming our meeting, but it never hurts to once again maybe do the Pledge of Allegiance. So let's do that again.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, one small matter of housekeeping first. Approval of minutes. We'll do that. September 23rd, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the September 23rd, 2014 regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I abstain.
Abstain.
The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the closed session of the September 23rd, 2014 regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I abstain.
Abstain.
October 14th, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the October 14th, 2014 regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the closed session of the October 14th, 2014 regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, public comments. I have a number of cards here in front of me, but after these people speak, if anyone else wanted to speak, you certainly may do so. Jim Schlicker? It was on top.
He was at the bottom. Hi, thank you again. I'm Jim Schlicker, Westmont resident for 24 years, 25 years. My children have attended Westmont schools K through 12, and they probably been in the school district for about 18 years. Two still in the school district now. I'm here specifically to talk about the referendum and how I strongly and how my family strongly supports what you're looking for, what your goals are. As a parent and being involved in the school, I have been in and out of the school, involved in many activities, and on occasion have talked to many staff members and many students. And I think the biggest thing that I like to see on the referendum is the safety that you're addressing, with the safety with the concerns specifically at Miller and Manning in the high school, in regards to the accountability of who is in that building and who's in the building at the time of the day and how they get in that building. You know, many times if we go and as parents are dropping our children off, whether it's on time or maybe somebody woke up a little bit late and we're getting there late, you know, people come and going out of those doors, and the doors can get left open for anybody to just get back in. You know, even though there's a camera system set up and you can watch who's at the door, if somebody else is letting them in, there's no accountability of who's in that building at whatever time it might be. And I think just addressing that simple concern, you know, with the recent remodeling and the fixing up of the junior high, I think it fixed a lot of those concerns that I had as a parent on who can be in that school at the right time and how they get into that building, and that they're approved to get into that building and they have the authority to be in that building for whatever reason. And working that out at the other schools, I think, is also really important for the safety of our kids and also very much for the safety of the staff that works there, because I know that just talking to them, that's their concern also. Also, the ADA compliance specifically, you know, being not a Manning for, you know, 3 boys going through Manning so many times, and seeing the ADA compliance, I know you're trying to get yourselves to. Also think that's way overdue, and obviously I know it's all about, you know, budget and having the right money at the right time to get things done, but I think time has gone and gone and gone, and you've made you've given everything you can to accommodate what we've been there, but we still need to get up to where it needs to be, where it recognizes to be the right level and to be able to accommodate anybody coming into that building who may have a disability, should have the right to get in there without special things, without special needs or people that move around to get to certain positions, to be able to use the bathrooms, to be able to get from the elevator from the first floor to the top floor to the bottom floor, not looking specifically at a lift that may or may not be suitable for the size of the person or maybe even to the disability that they have. So Again, I'm just here as a resident, here as a parent. I'm also a police officer, and I just want to say a kudos to you and much overdue, and appreciate your hard work. And hopefully this comes through and we can make our school safer for our students and our staff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before, I know this is a little out of place, but I wanted to reiterate something that I did find today, not find, I knew it was there, but on our website is the two-page document that the Westmont Police Department has put out explaining to the families how our children are in fact trained, and signed by Mr. Schlicker. So, and I know there's been some questions as to what exactly we're doing right now in our school. So I just wanted to refer people to the website if you haven't seen that yet.
You can also refer to Captain Weibler, also who's the school resource officer.
Yes, okay.
Signed at the high school, visits at all the schools too. You can reach out to him also for questions, and he can handle accordingly, or maybe you might need somebody else who might be able to help.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Lori Ambrose. Sorry.
Hi, I'm Lori Ambrose. I have a sixth-year-old sixth grader son over at the junior high, and I'm going to reiterate a lot we've already heard, especially at the last meeting too, but I wanted to make my voice heard, give you my opinion, and it's for everybody, not necessarily for the board. A lot of stuff I've seen posted on Facebook and I heard in the meeting, and one of the things I wanted to be sure that people understood that this isn't about who the intruder is or why he or she became an intruder. It's about keeping our children as safe as possible from all harm. I recently read an article by a Sandy Hook mother. She said that there are practices and education for fire safety in place at our schools. Why not for this area of safety as well? Unfortunately, this has become a reality for our children. And it's from my understanding that the architect did consult safety experts. So these preliminary drawings, these security enhancements are state-of-the-art, they're valid, and they're necessary. We all play a part in our children's safety. I want to be confident that our school district is doing their part to help keep them safe. And I want to be confident that I'm doing my part to help the district. It's obvious that I support this referendum. I hope many in the community do, but regardless if you agree with me or not, please get informed on this issue. Be sure you're getting truthful answers to your questions and vote. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Liz Rathburn.
I had to write it down, sorry. Good evening, my name is Liz Rathburn. I'm a resident of Clarendon Hills, and both of my boys attend Manning Elementary. I debated long and hard about standing up here this evening. I think it's quite clear that there are many of us here this evening that would agree with me that this is an important question on the November 4th ballot regarding the referendum. I'm grateful for all of you to come. I'm standing before you, the school board, the 201 administrators, the community here in the room, those watching at home, and the YouTube watchers later, because my husband and I know what the loss of a child feels like. It was not a school tragedy that took my daughter's life 8 years ago, but that does not matter. What does matter is the unstoppable grief we feel. Grief that I would not wish on any parent in or out of our community. No one should know the loss of a child, ever. The greatest gift for any parent is a child's love. It is our job as parents to be our children's biggest advocates. I believe advocating for security, safety, accessibility, and classroom enclosure is part of my job. Yes, there is a tax increase, but the way I see it, another part of my job as a parent is making small changes in my life to make sure the place I send my children to is safe and that they come home to me, educated, happy, safe. Sandy Hook was a tragedy that rocked our nation. Our community is now being asked to take steps to make sure that we are protecting the youth of today and giving them the educational experience they deserve. For me, there is nothing I would rather do than keep my boys safe. I have 3 children, and 2 of them I must keep safe. I'm asking you to please vote yes on November 4th. Please vote yes to give our children the education and the safety they deserve. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jason Benefield. Did I say that?
My name's Jason Benefield. My wife and I and my girls, we've been residents of Westmont for about 8 years. First of all, thank you for giving us the opportunity to come here and speak. We have 4 daughters. One of them just graduated, but we have 2 in the high school and 1 in the back there, Ruby, in the chair. As a parent, I'm very concerned about the safety issues discussed here, but I really want to talk about the ADA requirements because that impacts us directly. Ruby is a student at Manning, and she has a lift, which we are grateful for. But there are issues with the lift that need to be addressed. She spends a lot of time on it, so she misses out on class time just waiting on the lift to come up and down. And from a safety standpoint, when she first started at Manning and started doing evacuation drills and things, we spoke to her aide and her teachers and said, what do you guys plan to do to get her out of the building if the building needs to be evacuated? And they said, well, we'll roll her out. If we can't roll her out, one of us will pick her up and carry her out. And at the time, she was 3 or 4. So that seemed like a viable option, but now she's 8 and she's getting bigger, and it's just becoming less of an option for really anybody to, unless Mr. Schlicker decides to run any pick her up, then possibly we can do that. But we're very interested in the idea because she's in Manning now. She's going to the junior high. She's going to the high school, and these needs are going to need to be addressed throughout her career. So we're definitely hoping that everyone considers this and votes yes for the referendum. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments? And just when you get up here, just state your name. Sure.
I too, I'm going to read from a prepared statement. My name is Pete Kramer. My wife and our 3 children, with 1 on the way, we've been residents of Westmont for 5 years now. Our son Casey is a 4th grader at Manning, and Eli is a kindergartner. He's sitting right back there. Our daughter Juliana is 21 months, and she too will go to Manning. And we also have another baby boy on the way. Just some quick monkey math that I did. Our little boy will start his education endeavors in 2020. This means that I'll have a child in CUSD 201 through the year 2038. My son Casey started at Manning in 2010, which tells me that I will have a student attending a school, a CUSD school, for close to 30 consecutive years. I want my children to be able to feel safe while gaining an education. I want to feel at ease knowing that my children are not going to be put in harm's way while at school. In order for this to take place, we need to secure our schools and vote yes for the CUSD 201 referendum on November 4th. Over the past 30 years, there have been over 50 incidents where random acts of violence have been committed inside of schools, resulting in a death. To know that an incident like this could take place in our very own community is frightening. This is not the same world that you and I grew up in, where the only violence our parents would worry about would be the occasional schoolyard fight. This is why we need to vote yes. Westmont is such a wonderful community and what I feel is an ideal place to raise a family. Every family in Westmont owes it to themselves, their children, and to the community to take a look at the issues of safety in our schools. Our schools are not as secure as they need to be, and this needs to change. As a volunteer coach for Westmont Park District basketball, baseball, a member of the Westmont Wildcat Football Board, and the Cub Scout Scoutmaster, I look at all the children that I coach and mentor as the future. We cannot continue to do a disservice to these children by not giving them the safest learning environment possible. The fact of the matter is that this referendum is really about the kids and doing our job as parents and residents of this great community of Westmont to protect all of our children by every means possible. If this means spending a little money now to protect their future, that seems like a pretty easy investment and an easy choice to make. I ask every community member to get out, on November 4th and vote yes for this referendum. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments?
Hello, Mr. Carey and board members. My name is Kayla Sleeper, and I am a sixth grader at Westmont Junior High School. I have been a student in this school district since kindergarten. My dad went here also. We even share some of the same teachers. Tonight, I am here to tell you how I feel about the referendum and what it means to me. A few weeks ago, the Westmont Police Department had the students at my school learn a new drill. The Alice drill taught us to run, hide, and fight if we needed to protect ourselves from an intruder. During the drill, it was scary. I remember thinking that there wasn't really a very safe place for me to go if this was real. Where would I go? We couldn't close any doors, and I could hear the commotion in other classrooms because the classrooms are separated by a temporary wall. Some students tried to barricade the open classrooms, but that was difficult because the opening is very large, and this practice drill did make me feel scared. I do not want this to happen in my school. After the drill, my mom and I talked about it. My mom told me what to do if I ever had to keep myself safe. She told me to hide and not come out until I saw a police officer or someone I recognized. Even the conversation I had with her scared me. Could this really happen in my school or town? I then started to think about my brother. Would he know what to do if this happens here? Would he survive? This entire situation is very frightening. I know that getting this referendum important is to pass. I know that my school is not equipped to handle these situations. I know that something needs to be done. I know all of these things, and I am only 11 years old. I am here today to make this public plea to the voters of the school district. I cannot vote because I am only 11, but I am old enough to know that if I had the chance to vote, I would vote yes. I am not old enough to vote, but I am smart enough to know that this referendum is important for all the students, including future students like my sister. Please vote yes on November 4th. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that is a testament to our fantastic student body, and your parents should be very proud of you. I know that one of them is right here, so. Yes? Yes, I know it. You didn't use your full 5 minutes, so.
Good. After hearing those comments, it just, a couple things kind of hit me, and one of them is, I know listening to them talk and addressing that intruder fear and the way the kids address that intruder fear, I think that's definitely a fear to worry about. But me as a parent, I also sit there and I think of the possibilities, and I guess what frightens me more is that possibility of somebody coming into the school and taking one of our kids. Like, there's so many more options to things to worry about other than the intruder. There's so many other things that might be on a lower scale that maybe the media hasn't put out there, or other concerns that we should have other than just the intruder. Just that safety and that feeling of safe, I think is what's important overall. Also, and as we're talking about this, and I know the cost of what this is and what it would do to our taxes every year, and as I talk to community members, and well, my kids are done at District 201. I don't have no more kids there. And why should I worry about my taxes to go up if I have no more kids there? And I think that goes to the fact of what we're trying to teach our kids in the school district is doing the right thing for the right reason. And whatever level that is, or whatever that is, this is something that's being done for the right reason. So if you don't vote this way, and something does happen, and it's something that could have been fixed, that's on all the voters out there that decided not to vote because they don't have kids in District 201. This is doing something for the right reason at the right time, which is something that our community needs to stand together and do as a whole for our kids, and solely for our kids. Wanted to add that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, are there any other comments? Really, you're going to follow your daughter? Not Jim.
How do you follow that? It's hard. Okay, my name is Melanie Sleeper. I have 3 children. 2 are currently students. One is at the junior high, Kayla, and then my son John is at Manning. He's in 5th grade. And then I will have a kindergartner in the year 2019. So like Mr. Kramer, I will have a long stay with this school district. I wrote a letter to the community that I live in. I live by veterans. I wrote a short letter just to kind of address my neighbors, and I'm just going to read that letter. Dear Veterans Park neighbors, I am here today to talk about the referendum that will be on the ballot in November. CUSD 201 will be asking the taxpayers of Westmont to approve a referendum to improve the safety, security, and accessibility of the schools in the district. People tend to panic when there is talk of a tax increase. After listening to all the facts about this topic, the conclusions I've reached is that there is nothing more important than improving the safety of our schools. If a person wishes to visit Manning, for example, a visitor simply rings the bell, the office verifies the reason for admittance, and they are buzzed into the building. Once inside, the visitor should, in a perfect world, walk to the office. Once inside the building, though, if the wrong person were to be allowed inside, they could simply bypass the office and have complete access to any level of the school. This person has free rein to go wherever they please. While the office staff and school personnel work to ensure this doesn't happen, it could. My children recently participated in various drills at the beginning of the school year. While we are familiar with the fire and tornado drills of past, the newest drill my children learned involves how to prepare themselves in the event that there is an intruder in their school. This drill requires the students to barricade the doors, run from trouble, and fight an intruder if needed. Many of the situations in which they might find themselves require them to find a safe place and hide. I asked myself the other day, if this were a real situation, would my child survive? Our classrooms simply do not have the capability of keeping each and every student safe. In November, the ballot will ask all residents to vote about this topic. While some may not have children in this school district anymore, or they attend different schools in the area, the reality is still very much the same. Situations like the shootings in Connecticut could happen in Westmont. This isn't about whether you have a child in these schools or whether your children are long gone. This is about keeping our community from being the next on a very long list of tragic incidents. This is about keeping our children safe. This is about keeping Westmont safe. Nothing, no amount of money in the world is above these children's safety. I urge you next month to please vote yes for this referendum. The short-term costs and the long-term solution that the school district has proposed are well worth our children's safety. It truly does take a village to make this happen, and you can be part of keeping our children, the children of our community, safe by voting yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any other comments? Okay, thank you all for stopping by tonight. Okay, well, now we'll go on with the regular part of the meeting, so I know everyone really wants to be here for that. Oh, wait, we have Mr. Jonak coming up later, so. Okay, consent agenda. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Are there, any concerns on that? Number one, personnel recommendations. Underneath that, Anna, Jakubowski, FTE increased from 0.3 to 0.45. Ilsa Sutkar, employment as accompanist for junior high choral concerts and rehearsals. Leave requests submitted by Jennifer Kajawa and Randy Gallagher. Thanks, by the way. 2, approval of student tour requests. 3, renewal of medical and dental insurance plans. 4, approval of consortium for educational change membership. 5, approval of AFR shared services or outsourcing requirement report. 6, resolution to abate working cash funds. 7, approval of October 2014 expenditure report and supplemental report. And 8, ratification of September 2014 regular payroll.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Caparelli?
Yes.
Mrs. Hancock?
Yes.
Mrs. Natbush?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong?
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton?
Yes. Okay, the next item on the agenda is a presentation of fiscal year 2014 audit.
I'd like to introduce our auditing staff from Miller Cooper. Tonight we have Susan Jones with us, Colleen DeCracker, and Elizabeth Gasparini.
Evening. Colleen and myself are going to go through the two deliverables that are in your packet. I'm going to go through our required communications letter first. These are communications that are required by auditing standards as to the governance of the school district. And then Colleen is going to go through the highlights of the financial statements. We performed our audit in accordance with government auditing standards. We issued what's called an unmodified report, which is the highest level of assurance the district could receive on their financial statements. As we conduct our audit and execute our audit, we do consider the district's internal controls. We don't issue a separate opinion on internal controls, but as a result of our procedures and our review of the significant processes at the district, we didn't identify any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses in the district's internal controls. If our audit report was to be included in another document, say a bond offering or another annual report, we would be required to review that document to ensure there was nothing inconsistent with our audit opinion in the financial statements. On page 2 of the letter, at the top, our plan scope and timing was consistent with what we set out to do in our engagement letter. Our firm and the members of the team are independent of the district and compliant with all ethical requirements. And Colin will go through these, but all significant accounting policies are disclosed in the footnotes to the financial statements. There were no significant changes to accounting policies during the year. The district did have to adopt GASB 65, which required a restatement, and it wasn't an error in the financial statements, that's just how you had to adopt the accounting policy. And it was a $110,000 decrease to the beginning net position of the district as a result of now bond issuance costs, instead of being capitalized and deferred, are now expensed as incurred. And that's all disclosed in the notes to the financial statements. It also required the term deferred revenue not to be stated in the statement of financial position, and now it's referred to as unavailable revenue, which Colleen will point out when she goes through the highlights of the financial statements. Turning to page 3, it talks about future GASB statements that will be required to be adopted by the district in the next few years. The most significant being GASB 68, which would require the unfunded IMRF liability and the TRS liability to be recorded in the statement of net position, and that will be effective next year for the district. All significant accounting estimates, we review the methodologies, the most significant ones being the assignment of useful lives to capital assets, the assumptions that are in the post-employment benefits done by the actuaries, and we find all those estimation processes to be reasonable, and they're all disclosed, the methodologies and the notes to the financial statements. On page 4, all significant disclosures have been made in the financial statements. There are certain disclosures that are more sensitive than others, the most significant being the district's risk management program and their post-retirement liability assumptions and the related disclosures. If we identified any differences while we conducted the audit to what was recorded in the financial statements, we would have to report those differences to the committee, and there were no differences, and we had no significant audit adjustments. We had no disagreements with management. We received excellent cooperation from Kim and her team, a lot of transparency. They were ready during our field work for the information we needed. We're not aware of any consultations with other accountants, and Colleen's going to take you through the highlights of the financial statements.
So I do believe that everyone has a copy of your CAFR. It is very similar to the setup of last year also. I'll start with the introductory section. This includes what we would call the transmittal letter. It's a high-level summary of information regarding the district, its history, some of the accounting policies, gives you a little bit more information about the various schools within the districts, or in the district, and then some goals and initiatives that the district has. This section also includes the certificate from ASBO International that the district did receive the award for the Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting, once again. Moving on to the financial section. This is the section where we have the different statements. The first page of that section is our audit opinion. And again, as Susan mentioned, it is an unmodified opinion, and it's the highest level that the district can receive. Starting on page 5 is management's discussion and analysis. This again is a high-level summary of the changes within the district as it relates to the financial information. If you didn't want to read the 100-page document, you could read this document and get a good sense of the changes within the district for the year. Moving on to page 15 and 16, or rather 17 and 18. 17 and 18 are the district's financial information on a full accrual basis. This would be This would include long-term liabilities and long-term assets, capital assets, and debt within the district. This statement is where next year you'll see the implementation of GASB 68, where the unfunded pension liabilities will be recorded. Moving on to page 19 and 20, and then pages 22 and 23. It's the balance sheet and then statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance of the district. These two statements are on the modified accrual basis of accounting, so it includes short-term assets and short-term liabilities. This presentation is more similar to what you're used to seeing during the year. It's broken out by fund, and if you look on page 22 and 23, you'll note the net changes in the fund balances of the various funds during the year. In total, the fund balance changed very minimally, which indicates that revenues basically matched expenditures. There were no significant variations overall. Page 27 is where the notes to the financial statements begin. This is, again, a little bit more detailed accounting policy procedures that the district has. And there is a lengthy footnote on all the pension liabilities. Note K is kind of a summary of where all that information is reported. There is, starting on page 57, is the required supplementary information. Page 59 is where you will see budget to actual information for the different funds of the district, a little bit more detailed than the front statements are. Page 84, and then 85 and 86 are the combining schedules of the general fund. The general fund includes the educational account, or educational fund, tort immunity, and then working cash. The last section is the statistical section. This again is generally 10 years worth of historical data for the district. You can see 10 years worth of revenues, expenditures, taxing levy information regarding property taxes, debt per capita, lots of fun financial statistics, just to kind of see the trends that the district has gone through over the last number of years. Are there any questions?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim, and your staff for being available to the audit company.
Thank you.
Give them all the information that they need to come up with this, so thank you. I'm going to read this. Okay, the next item on the agenda, presentation of monthly financial statements.
Okay, the September financial statements are included for your review. And again, so we're starting out, the district received some state revenue, $75,000 this month overall. The first quarter of FY15 categorical payments have been vouchered in the amount of $347,000, but they have not been released, so we start that cycle all over again that we've had for the last 3 or 4 years. We did receive 2 large installments of the 2013 tax levy during the month of September in the amount of a little over $9 million. So we've collected 92.8% of the levy so far. We will receive another distribution in October, and hopefully will get us closer to that 100% mark. In the education and tort funds, again, there's about $196,000 of fiscal year 15 payments we're waiting to receive from the state. And then also in the transportation fund, those are vouchered as well. In the ed and tort funds for expenditures, they're comparable to the prior year where they should be at this point in time. And in the O&M fund, the expenditures are well below the prior year. One of the things that impacts this is the payment for repairs and capital projects, and they vary from year to year depending upon how much we do. We didn't do as much over the summer this year, so in prior years where we've done a lot of projects over the summer, there may be higher expenditures by this point. The O&M fund is 17% spent to date. Last year it was 23% spent to date at this time. We do know, actually in October, and that was part of your supplemental expenditure report, expenses for the roof, some of the roof projects came in, so you'll start to see that ratio going up next month. And again, on the transportation fund, expenditures are lower than the prior year, and again, this is just based on the timing of receipt of invoices for transportation services from our regular ed and special education vendors. And then the investments are included as well. Right now, because we've got a lot of tax revenue, our investments are high at about $13.7 million. Again, as we start to, we won't be receiving those funds anymore, and so you'll start to see the investments going down as we need that money to pay our expenditures. And then liability accounts, fund balance are attached, as well as the August and September lunch report. Does anybody have questions?
I have a question. Did I read somewhere that Senate Bill 16 is on hold right now? Do we know? Do we have any updates on that?
That's the latest out there, that it's gonna be on hold, that they won't do anything in lame duck session.
Okay.
But we will be, as we do, the 5-year plan, we will be modeling for that. So we'll have, here's
Okay.
if everything, goes as it has been, here's what it will look like if we implement SB 16. And I haven't looked at it to see if we'll do it at, do a kind of a phase-in or an all-at-once to kind of see what, how that will impact the district.
Okay, thank you. I thought I heard somewhere that was
Yeah.
shelved for now.
For now.
For
I
now,
mean, but,
okay.
anything's possible, so
Okay.
we'll just wait and see.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, the next item on the agenda is Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting.
Okay. And then, as the auditor stated, the district each year applies for, we submit our comprehensive annual financial report to ASBO International, and a team of auditors and other business managers, accountants review the report for certain requirements. And it's a document that takes a lot more preparation than what the state requires. The state requires an annual financial report, which is maybe about 40 or 50 pages, and this is well over 110 pages. And there's, again, a lot of useful information in this document for the reader. We also use this document for when we issue bonds, and the bond rating agency looks at it. So it is a well worthwhile tool, similar to what a financial statement would be, a shareholder report from a public entity. And so last year, we did receive that award for our 2013 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, and we will be applying for that same recognition with this report.
Thank you and congratulations.
Yeah.
That's, I think particularly now, that's nice to see, especially when we're talking so much about money. It is nice to see that these outside sources acknowledge that. I know as a board member, I will have to say thank you very much for that.
You're welcome, and it's a great nighttime reading, and it's posted
I think
on
Mary
the,
Kay wanted to read that.
Yeah, it'll be posted on the website as well, so.
I'll find it there, Kim, thanks.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, anyway, congratulations, Kim. Okay, Westmont Junior High School update. Mr. Jonak. Again, I don't know how you can follow that, but sure you.
We're going to try.
If we could get
Sure you will
the
do that.
presentation up on, fantastic, thank you. So first of all, it's my son who's in preschool right now, they call it Star of the Day, and it's basically they fill a backpack full of his favorite things, and so it's like show and tell, but they get to bring in a lot more stuff. And this is what's exciting to us because this is an opportunity for Amy and I to be stars of the day and to share some of the great things that are going on at Westmont Junior High School. So a lot of you are aware, looking out at the Board of Education, and by the way, thanks for having us here. A lot of you are aware of our theme for the year, and that is to be brave and wonder. And that was based off of a book that I'll talk about in just a little bit. But first of all, there's some congratulations that are in order. Mr. Troyer is our vocal choir director this year, and he is new to our district, and so we want to say congratulations because this morning at 6:28, Blythe Troyer was born, and so we're very excited for him. This is their first child, and we look forward to hearing all the good stories and seeing his eyes be really droopy in the morning when he's got a swing choir. But with that, just so Blythe knows, she does share a birthday. A lot of you know that I'm a huge comic book hero type person, superhero. I love them. And so my favorite superhero is my daughter, Addison Jonak. It's her third birthday. So, happy birthday to Addie. I'll be seeing you later tonight. So let's talk a little bit about the wonderful things that are going on at Westmont Junior High School. The book that I was talking about before was written by an author named Palacio. And we had read that in the PTO over the last month or so. We had a walkathon. They sponsored it. They gave us some T-shirts to just represent that theme that we have for the school year. And some of our students had the opportunity to meet the author just recently. And so that's how I wanted to start it off, that this is going on well past the summer reading that's occurred. And so it's a pretty exciting time. Mr. Carey talked to the administrative team, and he said, two of his goals are going to be about taking a look at curriculum and revamping the curriculum and bringing rigor to it, and then also celebrating successes. And we're definitely all about that at the junior high school. So at this time, if I could, I'd like Mrs. Riley to come up and stand up here. Mrs. Riley has come up here as the WTA president before, and she has stood up here and celebrated the successes, bringing teachers up here, and been celebrating other people. And at this time, I would like to celebrate Mrs. Riley. Now, I do have a little bit of script to go on to explain what's in front of you, so I'll read it to you. But before I do, I wanted to mention that besides all this great other stuff that I'm going to read to you, when I walked down the hallway, and I'm, this year I'm part of the evaluation task force, and Laura Riley's there. And I'm part of the RIF committee, and Laura Riley is there. And I've been part of the CAC, the Curriculum Advisory Council, and Laura is there. Laura puts forth so much effort. She puts forth so much consideration and dedication to the school district. And I'm truly amazed. There's things that I'm not a part of, that I'm not aware of, and I'm sure Laura's there. And so I just wanted to, before I talk about this next thing, and just say thank you to Laura and her dedication, and her husband as well for sharing Laura with us. So congratulations to Laura Riley. Westmont Junior High School science teacher, sixth grade science teacher, on her induction into the Master Teacher Project through the Better Lesson organization. It's funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. It highlights and shares the best teaching practices around the Common Core state standards. There are 130 plus K through 12 teachers from across the nation that create a complete year-long Common Core aligned course. Only the top 10% of applicants were selected to join this project. And remember, this is a nationwide project. As part of her commitment to the program, Laura's full year of lesson plans are posted on the website for educators to use throughout the nation and then some. Professional videographers have already come in and documented her lessons for all to view as well. We are so proud of the work that she's done. On top of that, Laura has provided professional development for some of our teachers at Westmont Junior High School in the years past and this year as well. The UNPD through Better Lesson, the UNPD is what it's called, the unprofessional development. It's a different take on professional development. It is something that she presented, and currently there's a pilot that's going on for our literacy teachers, and it was amazing. All 6 of our literacy teachers at Westmont Junior High School, after hearing Laura present about this amazing opportunity, they were on board. And so they're part of that right now. They're getting help from a amazing coach that you'll hear a little bit more about later. So at this time, I just want to say thank you, Laura Riley, for having And with that, one of the ways that we are celebrating success at Westmont Junior High School, and Laura was highlighted this past week, this past Friday, is through our wonderful news. And right now, Ms. Quattrone, my assistant principal, is passing out to you what the last few weeks of the wonderful news, which is highlighting the teachers and the things that they are doing in and outside of the classroom. It's also on our bulletin board for our students to see, but this is a version, an example of what's going on a weekly basis at the junior high. So another way to celebrate success, we do have our Student of the Month program still that a lot of people are familiar with, but we've upped the ante a little bit. We have the Panther Tire, and this is something that I know Amy at times has difficulty with because it's not as pretty as the award that she might have created, but this is for those that work tirelessly towards Westmont Junior High School. And so they get the Panther Tire. They also get a picture with the Panther. And so this award can be earned by those that are parents, community members, administrators, Board of Education, students, teachers, the whole gamut. We have volunteers that are coming as well. And so at this point, the faculty during the curriculum night, they were the first ones to be awarded. And then our PTO for the amazing job they did during our walkathon were the next ones to be presented with this honor. We have our school goals for this school year, and our school goals are based on, and we'll make this available to you as well. Our school goals are based on the student academic growth, 2 goals, one based on student academic growth, based on our MAP scores, which I'll go into in a little more detail, and every single team underneath this goal has made a sub-goal, a SMART goal based on that school goal. The other goal is based on our school climate, and the results are based off of the 5 Essentials statewide survey that is done that basically determines the climate of a school in a school district. So most of you are very familiar with Mr. Carey's vision, his small giant vision. And so when I had met with, I met with our student council, the board, and this is something different that we're doing this year. On a monthly, if not more basis, the board, the other board, of the student council will meet with me. We'll talk about the changes that they see that we need to incorporate into the school. We'll talk things through and explain what we can and what we can't do. Sometimes it's easy. It's an easy fix. They took a look at the small giant vision, and in their own words, they've created this graphic, this Wordle. One of the board members was here tonight, Ms. Sleeper, She was here who came and spoke to the Board of Education and to everyone tonight. So she was part of creating this. We're going to see this Wordle that represents the Small Giant vision and what we're about at the junior high as well.
As you can see, some of the larger words in the Wordle are kind, friendly, patient. We're particularly proud of these words because we really feel they embody the heart of our staff, our students, and our parents. We really believe in educating the whole child. And our philosophy is it takes heart. And when you walk through the halls in Westmont Junior High, that's what you feel. That's the one word that really stands out to us is heart. Our staff, they have the biggest hearts. They work tirelessly with our students. Our administrative staff, our teachers, you as the board members. Heart is what it takes to create a community of academia, but really giving those social emotional needs that those students should be fostered within them. And so
the Friends of Rachel Club is basically the student leadership team that has turned in, since we've had Rachel's Challenge, they've turned into the Friends of Rachel Club. And so that group of students, part of what they did today, which a number of you might have heard this already, is they had the Post-it note challenge. And instead of taking a Post-it, a note and putting "kick me" on the back or "nerd" or different things like that, it was a place everybody had something on their locker, and you could do a Post-it note, a positive statement on someone's locker, and so once you would get one, you would pay it forward. There were Post-its all over the place, and it was a very positive thing. The nice thing is Mr. Nillis, our head custodian, was appreciative that the 4 Club cleaned up afterwards too, in case a lot of our students ended up bringing home what was placed on their locker, and that just shows what an amazing place Westmont Junior High School is. Between the academics, the teachers, the athletics, the student council, the programming that we have, it's just a fantastic place to be right now, and Amy and I are so happy to be a part of it. Amy mentioned about people coming together and helping out each other and the faculty. Believe it or not, we were not 100% done with this PowerPoint around 5 o'clock tonight. There were a couple things we needed to add. Some of my teachers came to see me, and seeing that I was trying to finish this up a little bit, they said, "What can we do? We want to help. We want to help you do whatever you need to do."
And one's actually here tonight. I didn't know if you knew that.
Oh, really?
Ms. Walsh.
Ms. Walsh, thank you.
And it's because of this heart and the caring nature of everybody involved that we are so proud to announce that our discipline referrals have decreased tremendously within the past few years. In 2012 and 2013, we did have a high number of offenses, but that's because that's when we really started to enforce those our attendance policies. So many of those referrals came from that. And then you can see last year we decreased significantly, and this year, thus far, we only have 44 to report. Our teachers' hearts also extend to helping each other, and they are really committed to our profession. And this is something that we wanted to highlight for you because we wanted you to know as we went through the list of our teachers, we have about 30 staff members. 50% of them are teaching others in their profession, whether it's at the master's degree level, at the undergraduate level, in district, state, national conferences, workshops. I've actually been lucky enough to present with some of them, like Mrs. Riley, at state conferences. So we are really impressed. We're proud of them. We have 2 staff members that are nationally board certified. And then, of course, we have a group of literacy teachers that are going through that UnPD Better Lesson national pilot program. And again, it is a national program that they are piloting. And there's just a list on the side of some of our teachers. We have changed the way that we're running our professional development within our school this year. We are actually utilizing our instructional coach and our media specialist. They're going into the teen times of the teachers every 2 weeks to give them the latest and greatest in teaching techniques, talking about best practices, talking about data. They're also working with them at PLC times and in faculty meetings as well. They also work one-on-one with staff members too.
And we're excited that we received, some of you might have seen on our Facebook site, our first grant of the year, and it happened at the beginning of the year, and this was used to purchase Fitbits and Ms. Walsh is part of that as well, Ms. Walsh, Ms. Bartos. We have students that are walking very quickly, maybe not running, but walking very quickly to gain steps. And it is part of boosting the entire, it's not just about the academics, but it's about healthy living as well. And so we have, I think I'm still leading this week, but I'm not quite sure. There's a challenge that you can do with anybody that's hooked up to your Fitbit. And so we have Bartos 2 and Walsh 2. Their classes are set up. We have different literacy classes that are attached and challenging each other and stepping away to better health. It's pretty funny when I'm walking down the hallway and somebody will approach me and say, "Okay, Mr. Jonak, where are you at?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm in the media center. What are you talking about?" And they're like, "No, your Fitbit." And I'm like, "Well, I'm at 12,000 steps right now." And they'll be like, "I'll be right back." And then they dart off and they go walking around. So with this was Ms. Bartos had put in for this grant through the MEMIC Foundation, and it was a pretty cool moment.
And of course, our curriculum. It is the crux of our teaching. It's who we are as teachers, and we have implemented many changes within the past few years that we wanted to talk about. And first of all, within our math programming, we have begun to align to the Common Core state standards, and with those shifts, you will start to see your children using more manipulatives in class, and also really working on those problem solving, not just the naked math, which is a very fancy word for just problems, math problems. So they will be working in a problem solve, but what the teachers are doing is they are having them in class learn through the problems in small groups. It's no longer just the teacher standing up there and working through a word problem with the whole group. They're working in small groups, and they're working through problem-based learning pieces within math class. And so it's really teaching our students to dig deep into the math problems, but also the words, the literacy within math as well. For social science, we have already begun to align our curriculum to the ELA standards in the Common Core. We're also having our teachers take a look at this year at the C3 standards, and those are college, career, and civic standards that are brand new to social science. And as the years go on, we will be making sure that our curriculum maps fall in line with those as well. Science, I am proud to announce that our school is one of the first in the surrounding area to really latch on to the NGSS, the Next Generation Science Standards, and Mrs. Riley has a lot to do with that. She's learned so much about them. She and Mr. Sherry and Mrs. Goodell, they started roundtable discussions with other schools in the area, and those schools come to our district to talk about NGSS and how we can implement those in our classroom. Then we have literacy. They are still doing the block classes. They've aligned their maps to the Common Core. They're doing the UNPD, which is the data taken on best practices. And then our exploratory and PE classes, we're happy they have also aligned to the Common Core state standards. They are all implementing literacy into their classes. And actually, Ms. Hillard shared with me today, she's our PE teacher, she said that one of the students had said to her that PE was her third literacy class of the day. So I thought that was a really cool testament to what's happening in our exploratory classes.
Absolutely. And then, we're going to talk about technology enrollment, but when we were talking to just recently to Mr. Cornaccia, our other PE teacher, he had referred how it doesn't matter where he has his PE class tomorrow when we have the Explore test by the 8th grade. He can be flexible because he's doing something based on the Chromebooks with the 6th grade students. So once again, embedding technology and literacy in those courses as well. So next, I'd like to talk about the ISAT results. As we've talked in the past, the last 4 years have been different. In 2012, the ISAT test looked different than 2013. In 2014, it looked different than 2013. And so this year is going to be the first year of the PARCC test. And that's why when we looked at our MAP data, or when we looked at our ISAT data, we saw that right there it's the rankings for the specific test, the math, reading, and then science is only done at the 7th grade level. And so what you'll see right there is the students that met or exceeded, the percentage of students that met or exceeded on those tests. To the right column of that are the percentage of students that are above the state average. So those percentages are above. And the right grid is together the math, reading, and science, the averages per grade levels for those tests as well. What you'll notice in last year is the first year that the state of Illinois had brought the cut scores down because of the Prairie State. They wanted to align the ISAT more towards what the Prairie State was because they said there was a little bit of a disconnect. So the cut scores came down, and basically schools were finding about a 20-point drop, 20% drop between the scores that they had in 2013 and 2014. So as we look at taking the park this year, and I'm going to go on to the next slide here, as we look at going on to the park this year, this will really, besides 7th grade last year, we were able to take the park pilot, but we didn't get any feedback from that test. The state was using it for a pilot. They didn't give us any data. So this year will be the first year that everybody is taking the park at Westmont Junior High School and in the younger grades as well. The ISAT is no longer. And this is 100% Common Core. And this test looks a lot different than the ISAT test. What we have on our website is underneath the parent resources link, there's a lot of resources that are available for parents to look at that tells a little bit more about the park test and preparing their student for it as well. So once again, this year, once we get this data, this will be our benchmark year, and we'll start setting our school goals based on the park assessment in the future.
Continuing with our talk about student achievement is our summer school programs. We are really excited for our programming this year. It's expanded tremendously thanks to Joel and Mrs. Clowder and a lot of other people that had their hands in this. We expanded to having 26 students in our reading and math program, and we were very happy with that and transitioned to 6th grade STEM. We had a total of 76 students in our summer school program this summer, and we're looking forward to increasing it next summer.
And that brings us into, this is our second year of E-Period. For those that are familiar, E-Period is going to be that 35 minutes, and that occurs on the mornings of Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And that E-Period is that time that we carve out at the very beginning of school. And if a student walks in, but we have students with many different needs, challenges, and talents that walk through our doors. And so we need to meet them where they're at. So if they need extra help in reading or math, they get that during that time. There's an intervention. For those that don't, that are meeting those standards, they can go on and they have mini units. They're usually about 15 to 16 days long. And there's mini units on NCIS Westmont by Mrs. Riley. There's yoga. There are sectionals. That's new to this year. Sectionals meet in the morning now during that period of time. There's the reading interventions, the math interventions that are going on. There's many different things that are going on. You've probably heard about some of them. Mr. Troyer also teaches swing choir during that time as well. What I'd like to show you is that next step, which is what I'm really excited about, because I received a letter that I'm going to have Amy pass out to each of you. And there's a little bit of scribbles on it. I apologize for that. But this letter was sent to me by students. It was put on my door by students. And this was something that they loved the E-Period so much, but they wanted to take it a step further. And they wanted to create their own E-Period. And we're hearing more and more about this right now. But these young ladies were the ones that really kind of kicked it off. So first, they set this up. They told me what they would like to do, why they would like to do it. They said, these are some of the obstacles that we might have, but these are some of the solutions that we have to these obstacles. We would like to set up a meeting with you in order to talk this over. And what they brought to me was a Google Doc that had, no offense to some of my teachers, some of the best laid lesson plans that I've seen in a while. And so as you can see, I just took excerpts from week 3 and 4 of what they proposed. And already, if I actually clicked on the column to the right, the paper plate or the dragon, the lantern, different things there, it would actually bring us to a link in which they have different resources that are available. And so we've already got them on the PTO agenda for November, this October Mr. Carey was presenting, and he trumped them. And so, so they're going to be presenting to the PTO to help with some funding, and the PTO is all aboard for that. We're very excited about that. There's a new, and this is what is really exciting because behind what might seem like is not tied necessarily to your traditional academics in an E-period is something like this. And this is what Ms. Bartos is doing right now in our home ec room. These students are coming together and they're investigating recipes of some of the top 10 recipes you need to know how to make when you go to college. Mm-hmm. And so once again, the message there is college bound, college bound. And so it's pretty exciting. So they're learning that. And I don't know how many people from the senior high are going to hear this, but what's really cool about this is they're putting the recipe book together, and they're going to be creating them and giving them a gift to our seniors when they graduate in 2015. So it's just something that's pretty incredible that our E-periods are doing. We're still very excited about those. We did change, we talked about E-period, we talked about exploratory, and I can't neglect to say that we changed the name of Excel to STAR. We know that I figured I'd hear clapping for that, so I'll just clap to myself. And so over the course of the summer, STAR curriculum was created to add more structure to STAR. And so this is students are getting some of the social emotional standards met, internet safety met. There is work study time, executive functioning skills, and then there's goal setting. And what you're seeing right there is this is over the course of 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Students are mapping their data. They're creating goals for themselves, and they're going to keep this same folder from 6th grade to 7th grade to 8th grade, and they're tracking their growth. They're setting the goals for themselves. This is important as we know that if we don't write down our goals, they're probably not going to be happening. And Mr. Carey already got a copy of my goals this year. Right, Mr. Carey?
Right.
Okay. So as we talk about STAR, there are a lot of other things that are going on during STAR. Like it said, the social emotional piece and all of that.
We also have carved out time for Genius Hour, which allows students to create their own paths in learning.
Okay, and with that, I'm going to have to interrupt Ms. Quattrone. We have a little bit of information from one of our co-teachers. Mr. Gifford, please come up here. If I can get this to work correctly. You could probably help me with this technology,
Yes.
couldn't you?
Sorry to interrupt the board meeting, but I have something very important to share with you. My name is Mr. Gifford, and I teach Intertech with Ms. Rue. I designed these 3 Scratch projects, and they're long, and I made 3 levels of difficulty so that all the students are challenged. In class, we're using these Lego Mindstorm robots to teach the kids how to program. If you have any questions or you want more information, feel free to email me at 19lugaff@cg.csd1.org.
And so who I have here in front of me, by the way, that tie looked very familiar. Did you borrow that from somebody? That jacket, too, for that matter. Luke Gifford is one of our 8th grade students this year, and we're very excited. Last year, Luke, along with Miss Rue, had really piloted what Genius Hour can look like. And Genius Hour is only limited by the imagination and the desire of our students. And we're taking more steps towards fulfilling that with other students as well. So during the summer, Luke, Mr. Gifford, Mr. Gifford had been helping co-teach a class with Miss Rue, and that was that STEM class over the summer. Additionally, Mr. Gifford has helped Miss Rue, co-taught with Miss Rue, the Intertech class that occurs 9th period during our school day. I know that we might be breaking a few child labor laws, but I'm sure that we'll work it out with the Giffords eventually. The one comment that I really want to mention is that this is a quote from Ms. Rue, and Ms. Rue could not be here tonight, our media specialist. She's teaching a class, a graduate level class right now. But she said that the students came into her classroom today, well, her and Mr. Gifford's classroom today, and said, "Where's Luke?" And Ms. Rue said, "Well, he's getting ready to take the Explore test. He's not here right now." And she was about to say, "Can I help you?" And the kids just kind of looked around, and then they go, "Oh, we'll just wait." So Luke has really been a go-to person, and he's just instrumental in our curriculum and really helping Ms. Rue and being a true co-teacher in that class. And Ms. Rue has learned so much. And so I just wanted to recognize Luke, Mr. Gifford, for all the work that he's done in stepping outside of that traditional classroom. So very nice job.
Can I interrupt? As long as he's already on staff, can we count on him to stay for years when he graduates from college?
We're working on his contract.
We'll sign it.
So this is a perfect time to start talking about technology in our schools. There's quite a bit of technology that has come to Westmont Junior High School. There's a 6th grade Chromebook one-to-one initiative going on this year. And so as you can see there in the top left corner, this is actually distribution during the ice cream social. There's a lot of different things that are going on, and I know time is short and I've already talked long, but hey, we're only here so much, and so we're excited to talk about what's going on here. I'm going to move on. What you're going to see there is a student deep in thought. I'll let you determine what that is. Students are using probes that are attached to iPads to determine temperature. Is that correct? Okay. And then students that are doing some peer editing using the Google Docs, and then students, our smart boards, although they're not our newest technology, they're still present in our classrooms. In the morning, our students get there, at an early enough time, and sometimes we'll notice that it looks a little bit different when we look out at the bleachers now. That is before school. Students are on their Chromebooks, they're on their different pieces of technology. I am 100% sure that they are doing schoolwork at that time. It has nothing to do with video games. But what I want to mention is that in the top right corner, once again, if I could tell people to go to our website to take a look at the parent resources, scroll all the way down, and you'll see something, a Prezi that the 6th grade had put together. I know the time is short tonight, but I ask that those that are watching tonight, those that are watching YouTube later, and school board members, please take a look at this presentation. It goes into more detail of what's going on using the Chromebooks and how education looks a little bit differently, how homework looks a little differently as well in using this new technology.
Let me just break in there real quickly. I did have the opportunity of seeing that presentation last Friday, the actual presentation. It was very good. I was very impressed with what the kids had done. It was very good. So I do encourage everybody, like Mr. Jonig is saying, take a few minutes and take a look at it. It's really good.
And we're very pleased, and we expect hiccups, throughout this transition with so much technology coming in, and the teachers, once again, they just knock it out of the park with us. And I'm not just talking about the 6th grade teachers, but I'm talking about the 7th and the 8th grade, because we have the bring your own device across the entire board, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and that comes down to the professional development that's being supplied by our media specialists, and then just peer-on-peer educators helping each other out with a learning curve. And I think they're learning a little bit from the students, too.
And we'd like to leave you tonight with just some words about communication. We know how important it is to everyone. We have really tried to improve our communication over the years, and these are just some of the ways that we are communicating with you. Of course, that's the bat phone in honor of Mr. Jonak. But you might hear his lovely voice on our parent links. We communicate that way through email, through Twitter. Many of our teachers are on Twitter. We have a junior high Facebook. I encourage all of you to sign up for that. Through Skyward email. We put everything on our school website as well. If you have any suggestions, our doors are open, so please feel free to come in and talk to us at any time. We would love that.
Absolutely. And lastly, we know that we couldn't make the changes that we make and continue to supply the teachers with what they need and the students with what they need if it wasn't for your support. And so we appreciate the support that the Board of Education, the district administration team has shown as well, and the parents in the community. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before you walk away, I just wanted to say something. Number one, I'd like to just say thank you very much for, taking the time and putting this together and sharing it, not only with us, but with the community. Thanking Mr. Gifford as well for his input. But I just want to take a minute to talk about a number of things that I've seen that have gone on in the high school, basically, specifically since the two of you have come. The halls in that school, the feeling of being in that school really seems to be one of the words I saw there was kind, and the kids seem to really be bonding and everything. And I've always said, having 3 children, that there is a special place in heaven for the junior high teachers. It's a tough time for students, but I just have to say that seeing what I see there is remarkable. I will also say, and I hope he's not watching, but as someone who has asked for rigor, I would like to out loud thank you for having more homework at our house in the evening.
Sorry, Nick.
I don't know that somebody would want to hear that, and hopefully he's not watching right now, but it does seem like that your efforts have come forward. I know that some of us here at the table have students in the junior high.
A lot of us.
Chuckle.
Majority.
All of us.
Almost all of us.
So obviously, you know what you know in the schools, and so I just have to say that some of the things that I have seen just in the last couple of years have been remarkable by the staff, by yourself, and obviously student to student. So I just really want to say thank you.
Yeah.
You're very welcome.
The climate has definitely changed in that building. There's no doubt about it.
That's a better way to put what I was trying to say. Climate.
We like both ways. So
Yes,
thank you.
exactly.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Have a good night with the little one. Yes,
Yeah.
no doubt.
Happy birthday.
Okay, now we'll move to the superintendent's report, please.
A couple of items included in my report. First, with regards to the referendum, as we had the public comment earlier this evening, the school district does have a question on the November 4th ballot. It's seeking approval for a $26 million bond issuance for facility improvements. And Kim and I, through all of October and a little bit of September, we've been having various informational meetings. And our final one is Thursday, October 30th at 7 o'clock p.m. at Westmont High School. And so we're encouraging people, if they still have questions, they're not sure about the scope of the projects or any information they require prior to Tuesday, November 4th, if they could try to attend that meeting, again, October 30th, Thursday at the high school at 7 o'clock p.m. If they cannot attend that meeting, we do have our information on our website, and so they can go to the website to see the presentation. There's, right now, there's one with the voiceover. We are going to have posted tomorrow one just with the slides in case you don't want to sit through the voiceover. And then also frequently asked question, and also there's a calculator that will tell individuals what the impact on their own home of the referendum. They can input the value of their home. And so,
Also, the FAQ, I encourage you to read it. There are 9 pages of questions and answers, and it is updated with the questions that were asked last night. So please look there.
and we do, after each meeting, within 48 hours, we update the FAQ. In some cases, it might take Kim or I a little bit of time to research some of those answers. But we do, after every meeting, update the FAQ, so it's important to go back and review that document.
Before you leave that topic, I looked, it had to be last week, and the board meeting where we had the presentation, as of like last week, had 135 views already. So I know that it does appear that people are looking to that. Two things before we leave that topic. First of all, thank you both, Kevin and Kim. I know you've both put in a lot of hours giving this presentation over and over. I'm sure at some point you could probably reiterate it in your sleep. So thank you for spending that time. And then the only other thing I'd like to put out there is just a piece that, if for those that are watching, you might notice that when all this is happening, that us as board members are not speaking about it too much. And I just kind of wanted to reiterate again that as sitting board members at a board meeting, we cannot advocate for or against the referendum. So I know there's been some questions as to maybe why board members are not saying anything. So I just kind of wanted to reiterate that our role vis-a-vis the two of you is to give factual information. So I really want to say thank you for getting that out there and for spending so much time on the frequently asked questions, because I know some of them have required a lot of investigation. So thank you.
Sure. Next item I have is now that we are transitioning from referendum presentations, we'll have our, I guess, late fall, early winter superintendent coffee on December 2nd at 7:00 p.m. in the Westmont High School Commons. And that's just an opportunity for me to provide an update for any community members or families within the district. Typically, I provide some information about the district, some updates, and then do have an open forum for questions and hopefully answer as many questions as possible. So again, if individuals want to learn about some of the changes within the district, an update on their district, feel free to attend on December 2nd, 7 o'clock in the Commons at the Westmont High School. Next item is in terms of communications, I have two things. First is last night we did have informational meeting regarding the math transition within our district, a parent meeting. I was doing a referendum meeting, so I wasn't in attendance, but I did get some feedback, and I think based upon the feedback that I received, that parents did appreciate the opportunity to ask questions, voice concerns that they had with regards to the transition that the district is going through this year. And then also it was facilitated by Nadine Norris, who's our Director of Technology, Teaching and Learning, and then Claren Einfeld, who is the consultant we're working with our staff. So again, I think parents appreciate that opportunity. Many of the questions, though, and the concerns were very specific to either grade level or building, and so that forum really didn't lend itself to answering some of those questions. And I think there was a sense of frustration then, because that's what parents were hoping for, was not necessarily a general update, but an opportunity to have their specific concerns addressed. And so we will be scheduling in the near future meetings with some of those specific groups to be able to share with them and address their concerns and hopefully alleviate their concerns. We do appreciate our parents are advocates for their students. They only have the best interests of their students in mind. We appreciate that. We as a district also have their best interests in mind. And so we don't have conflicting goals. We want the best for our students. But definitely we will be scheduling those meetings to hopefully alleviate that frustration and address those more specific concerns. And just in general, overall, I think definitely we could have done a better job in communicating as we're beginning the transition, moving through the transition, and then also consistent communication from the district office all the way through to the classroom level. I think that's also creating some of the concerns is the type of communication and the consistency of the communication. So we will be working on those two issues.
Thank you, Kevin. I had spoke with Kevin this afternoon about this because I was at the math meeting last night, and I just have to say that both Claren and Nadine Norris were spectacular. They really did a good job. There were some tough questions being asked, and I think it was very apparent at the meeting that it's all, like you say, everyone is there for the best interest of what their children are there for. So, yes, it was discussed that I think you accurately relayed that parents thought it was going to be something different. So I think the need for specific meetings, so I thank you very much for doing that. And I would just strongly advocate for something sooner rather than later.
Right.
A couple things that came up last night, though, that I thought were really fantastic, and I don't want to go into it too much, but some of the concerns were like, the why the Common Core standards and math and everything, and a couple things that Nadine had talked about that I thought were worth repeating is that any issues that we're going through in our district with dealing with the math Common Core, other districts throughout the state and the country are going through those same issues. And so one of the questions was kind of like, how do we make sure that our students on a day-to-day basis are getting instruction? And I think Nadine did a fantastic job of stating that, how there is instruction going on a day-to-day basis that is reaching the Common Core standards to get the students ready for the next step. So thank you for that.
Sure.
And so, again, I thank you for setting up these meetings.
Sure.
And I thank you also for bringing Claren into our district. I think she is a fantastic facilitator and certainly knows and loves math, which is in itself a spectacular thing. So thank you for that.
Then the last item I have, Marie referenced Senate Bill 16, and we were contacted by Patty Bellick, our representative's office, that she is looking to schedule a town hall meeting on that topic. And the date that was shared was November 6th, and would actually be hosted at our junior high. And we haven't, I don't think any official communication has gone out from our office, but we're anticipating that November 6th at our junior high. We don't have a time, but my guess would be around the 7 o'clock start time. There will be a town hall meeting, so if individuals have concern about that Senate bill or want a better understanding of it, I would encourage you to attend that meeting.
Kevin, if I could go back to communications for just a second. I know we had it last year, and I was hoping we were going to see it again. I know we had mentioned it, but some type of monthly report about what's going on in the PLCs. I don't know if it would have helped with this particular math meeting or not, but when we don't get enough information out there to the parents, it always becomes very apparent to us that we haven't, okay?
Right. And
I do know that a lot of people, did like those PLC updates last year, at least know what was going on. And like I say, once a month, some information. They were done by different people last year. I thought that was very good also. So it'd be nice to see a return to those PLC updates.
Yeah.
Just my opinion, eh?
Sure. Oh, yeah, definitely. No, we did say that we would continue that this year, yes.
Okay, anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay, then, are there any board reports?
The only thing I would just talk about briefly was the IASB dinner that Marie and I attended, and actually the speaker there was really probably one of the best and most inspirational that I've heard in a long time. A gentleman by the name of Maui Askadam.
Okay, oh, good.
Did I get that right?
I
And
think so.
he and his family were refugees from Ethiopia and came to, as a young child, came to DuPage County, and I believe it was Wheaton School District, where he started his formal education. And so he spoke very eloquently about the role of public education and how he viewed his success, how it happened in our public education system. And he kind of drew an analogy in his talk or presentation about students being heroes, but behind every hero is a mentor that leads them to their greatness. And it was he drew Star Wars into it and everything like that. And it was just a wonderful way of kind of piecing it together for the audience that was there. And he has several books. He's been on Oprah Winfrey. He's very, very successful. He says he doesn't do as many speaking engagements anymore, but it was just as good of a presentation. So if you ever have a chance to go to MauiLearning.com, I'm sure there's further information there, but it was just as inspirational as a lot of the ones we see when you go to the IASB meeting in November. They always have some very good nationally known speakers there, but this was very powerful, and it was just a real good evening. Felt really good after returning from that.
Thank you for bringing that up. It was probably one of the most enjoyable evenings that I've been to in a while in terms of our continuing education. But again, just to reiterate what Joel said, he talked about the importance of public education in this country. He came here, neither of his parents could speak or read, and if he had stayed where he was, he would probably be on that same path, except he got to come to the United States and be part of public education. And he went on and went to public education all through grammar school and high school, and then went on to Harvard, and has a master's, and just one of the most eloquent speakers ever. So his push is basically that it's time for people to step up and support public education.
I also spoke very eloquently about the growth model of education, that you have this much knowledge, and even if you don't expand it to where you think it should be out here, and you've gone halfway there, that's so much progress, and that is success, and that is how we should be measuring success in public education in a more effective way. And it was just presented really well, and made it really understandable for those of us who aren't in education as a profession.
Okay, anything else? I have a very quick, very important thing. The Frosty and Friends Parade is coming up on Saturday, November 29th. And I'm hoping that the board is interested in participating in that again. So, yes, are we? I'm going to take that as a yes. Okay, then, are there any other board reports? When is the, oh, here, it's right here in front of me. Okay, so future meetings. Tomorrow night, October 30th, 7 o'clock, the final informational referendum meeting at the high school. Tuesday, November 4th, is Teacher Institute Day, and is no school, and that is Election Day. On November 7th and 8th and the 9th is the Westmont High School Fall Play, A Family Reunion to Die For. November 7th and 8th at 7 o'clock, and November 9th at 2 o'clock. The next joint committee meeting will be November 11th at 6:30 at the Westmont High School. And the next school board meeting will be November 18th at 7 o'clock at the Westmont Village Hall.
Marie, could you back up? The final referendum meeting is tomorrow or Thursday?
Thursday, I'm sorry. I said tomorrow, but I meant Thursday. Thursday, October 30th, 7 o'clock. Thank you. And if that's all, hope everyone has a safe Halloween this year. And the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Adjourn?
Are we going to
Closed
close?
session.
I'm sorry. I jumped ahead.
Yeah.
I got too excited.
Moving right along.
So moved.
Sorry.
Erase that out of the tape. Okay. I'm at a page ahead. The chair will entertain a motion to enter closed session for the purpose of discussing collective bargaining, personnel issues, student discipline, and probable litigation.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Hancock?
Yes.
Mrs. Notbush?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong?
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton?
Yes.
Ms. Caparelli?
Yes.
There will not be a vote after closed.
Yeah, had my
Now.
head still-
Happy Halloween, everyone.